This little mini video is about why stress really matters if you're struggling with a chronic digestive disorder. So to start off with just a little bit of background information to make sense of this, the human nervous system has two different branches or two different parts. One part is the fight or flight system, which is the sympathetic nervous system. And the other half of it is the rest and digest system, which is also called the parasympathetic nervous system. So these are just two parts of the same nervous system, meaning that when one part is activated, the other part is decreased, it goes down. And like two parts of a seesaw, one goes up, the other goes down. So when stress happens, when we just have a natural reaction to something that's stressful, our fight or flight system comes online, and it activates our senses, activates our kind of being able to respond to something immediately in the moment. And at the same time, it shuts down digestion. It shuts down all these like longer term processes that have to do with rest and repair and digestion. So if you just look around, it's the people in your life, the people you work with, or the people that you're friends with. It's a normal thing for people to be kind of caught in the fight or flight system. That gas pedal can kind of get stuck in the on position. With how fast things move these days, with our phones and email and phone calls and this and that, there's always more to be dealing with. There's always something that we have to be kind of dealing with next, right? So we often can get stuck in this on position, this gas pedal position, and that break, that natural break that we kind of need for healing, can get really impaired. So the effects of this in the big picture are really not good when it comes to IBD and IBS. The inflammation goes up. We know that stress increases intestinal permeability. What this means is just that, leaky gut syndrome is caused by this. The gaps in the enteric nervous system and the cell walls open up, and they can lead to leaky gut syndrome, if you're familiar with that. Visceral hypersensitivity. This just means that whenever we feel something in our abdomen, we're more likely to get freaked out by it. We're more likely to get reactive and stressed when we feel something bubbling or kind of moving or some pain. Our nervous systems are more on the lookout for something being wrong when we feel something in our abdomen. And then the last thing to increase would be the imbalance of the microbiome. All those billions and trillions of bacteria in the gut that are normally helping when they're in balance digest and kind of send signals that everything's okay to our brains and to our guts from our colon, that goes off balance when enough stress is around for long enough. And at the same time, just like I was saying before, digestion goes down and our gut responsiveness goes down. And what this means is that typically when there is stress is low and health is fine, when there's a stressor present, the gut responds flexibly. It can just be a little bit of short-term slowing down of digestion while the energy gets diverted to dealing with something that kind of needs the energy. But when there's the chronicness of stress and the chronicness of IBD or IBS, the responsiveness goes down, which means that the gut kind of responds in all or nothing terms. Shut down, expel when a stress comes online, which means diarrhea. It means indigestion, nausea, vomiting. Another thing that goes down is sleep quality. The more stress that's here, the worse the sleep gets in general. And unfortunately, sleep is a huge foundation, a huge need, a crucial need for these bodies to repair themselves. And then lastly, just we know with research that the more stress stays around, the worse our health choices become. We start to focus on what would be good for now, the short term. So unfortunately, that means we exercise less, we stay up later, watch Netflix more instead of sleeping, that kind of thing. And also, we're less likely to stick to diets or eat foods that will make us feel worse later. So to simplify all this down, we know that when our bellies are upset, it leads to a natural stress reaction of the mind getting busy, the mind getting activated and stressed. And when the mind gets activated and stressed, it speeds up. When the mind speeds up, it makes the belly worse. And then here we have this vicious cycle where the stress reaction itself is making things worse. So the good news in this is that we don't need to wait until our chronic problems with our digestive system, our IBS, IBD, get better for us to work on these underlying factors, to build the strength of coping with and working with stress better. One thing that I have found particularly helpful in my experience, because I have Crohn's disease myself, is mindfulness meditation. It's been a real game changer for me in being able to work with stress and reduce stress and decrease this vicious cycle. And so I love sharing it with people. If you're interested, there's info below.